Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator. In this video, I will just give you a walkthrough of the Airbus A380 which was released by Flybywire Simulations. Usually I make videos for the beginners, but this video is specifically for those people who know actually how to fly the Airbus A320 or A330 or A340, because this plane is almost similar to the all Airbus planes with slight differences, which you will just get familiarized with during the course of this video. And especially if you are familiar with the Airbus A320 by Flybywire Simulations, you will be easily configuring this plane for the takeoff. So in this video, I will take you through the startup procedures from the cold and dark state, and then how to configure the electronic flight bag, and then how to configure the MCDU, flying the plane on autopilot, and ILS approach and landing. I will just try to keep this video to the point, and I will just try to keep it short so that it's easy for you to just navigate through the video. This is a short flight from Riyadh to Abu Dhabi, and obviously this plane is not supposed to fly on these short routes, but just to cover up a single flight in a video, I am using this route. So let's power up the plane and turn on the batteries. You have these 4 switches over here on the overhead panel. You press all these 4 to get the battery. And then external power is available. You can directly connect it, and that's it. Now let's get the ADIRS alignment by moving these knobs to nav. I've set iris alignment to real, so that's why it will take roughly 7 minutes for the alignment to take place. So that's why I've just turned it on right now. Now this is the tab, and you must be really familiar with. You can connect your SimBrief account and your Navigraph account with the tab by going in the settings and going to this option, third-party options. And then you can have access to the Navigraph charts. If I just enter the ICAO code for the Abu Dhabi airport or for the Riyadh airport, I'll just get all the information over here. Now let's get the SimBrief flight plan. And let's go to ground services to get the fuel. It's already there, but if I move the slider, you will see this option. So just get the fuel from SimBrief, which is there, 29.5 tons. And it will be done instantly, as I've selected instant over here. For the payload, again, as it's already loaded, all I have to do is this. Just press this boarding button, and the passengers and the cargo is there. Again, I've set it to instant, so that's why it was done instantly. Now let's get to the MCDU of the plane and start configuring it. It is almost like the Airbus A320 MCDU. The only difference is it's a big touchscreen. If you know how to configure that, you will be easily configuring this MCDU. The first page gives you the information of the plane, the model, the engine number, and plus the AIRAC cycle. Now you can go to the initialization page, and you can just get the company flight plan by pressing this option, and it will say uplink insert in progress. Once it's complete, you can just insert it, and now you will see the departure and the arrival is coming, and the flight level is also coming, the cost index is coming. Then from here, you can just go to the iris page. You can see how long will it take for the iris alignment to get completed. You can go back, and for the departure, I will be using runway 33 right, and this is going to be the SID. Just select this option, temporary flight plan, and insert temporary, and this departure procedure is there. Now select the destination, and the runway that I will be using for the landing is 31 left. You have ILS 31 left as an approach, and via ITRIN, and standard terminal arrival is UKIL 3D. Now you'll see all this information for the runways coming, temporary flight plan, and insert temporary, and that's it. Let's check if there is any discontinuity in the flight plan or not. Yes, there is. So let's get rid of it by clicking manual, because after this you have to fly based on the heading given by the ATC. And let's also delete the discontinuity, and that's it. Now I can just go back, I can get the fuel and load, So zero fuel weight is for this flight is 351.8 tons. I can use my keyboard for this. 351.8, and zero fuel weight center of gravity. This is 34.1. As you can see, it's over here. That's it. And the block fuel is 29.5 tons. That's it. Let's go back and let's get the takeoff performance. There is no takeoff performance calculator in this plane, so that's why I'm using the SimBrief takeoff performance calculator to do the calculation. V1 is 141 knots. And VR is 149. And V2 is 153. Flex is 66 degrees, flex to temp. And THS for the trim, it is your gross weight center of gravity, which is 35.4. So let's enter 35.4 over here. This is required to adjust the trim during the takeoff. And that's it. So it's really easy to configure this MCDU, as you have seen, if you know how to configure the A320. Although I will be making another video for the beginners who are not really familiar with this plane, and especially the Airbus planes, so that they can do a flight in the future. Another interesting feature in this plane is the checklist. So if you go over here on the pedestal, you will see this button CL, and then you will get the checklist. So if I go through the checklist by clicking this tick option, you will see that the gear pins and covers, they are removed. Yes, you can select this. And then you have fuel quantity. It's already there. Let me just zoom in a bit so that I can read it easily. Seatbelt signs on. So as the fueling is done, I can turn on the seatbelt sign. I can turn on the no mobile sign. And plus I can arm the emergency exit lights. And plus it also says baro reference. So I can change the units over here and press B in order to get the barometric pressure, which is there. So now this step is also complete. And then I can press this tick twice to complete the checklist. The next in the checklist is before start. So the parking brake, obviously it's set. Takeoff speeds and thrust, I've also set that. Let's turn on the beacon, as I will be turning on the engine now, and turn on the fuel pumps also with this. Because if the fuel pumps are not on, obviously you cannot turn on the engines. Very simple. So the strobe is set to auto, beacon is on, nav lights are on, and I can turn on the APU and start it. And on the lower ECAM, you will see that soon the APU will start. Now let's complete the checklist, and that's it. The next thing in the checklist is after the start. So right now it's not required, so I can press it again and get all these messages on the screen. Now the altitude will be 38,000 feet. And I can turn on the flight director and the speed in the manage mode. So just like the Airbus, you can have the manage mode for the heading, for the speed, and for the altitude. And when you see all these three dashes. So now the APU is available. As you can see, it's coming over here. You can also see the progress of the APU. It's available. I can now turn on the APU bleed, and with this I can disconnect the external power as it's not required. Just make sure there's no white light on the overhead panel. This is a good indication in the Airbus planes. So everything is good now. There is another thing that we have to do. Just go to this option SURV, and you can set the transponder, set it to auto, enter the squawk code if required, and for TCAS you can select TA only, and you can just go back. Let's keep the flight plan over here. Okay, that's good. So now I can call for the pushback, get rid of the armrest. So the pushback is here. Ground services, you can see nothing is connected, so I can call for the pushback, confirm, and let's call the tug. And now with this I can release the parking brake. So everything is looking good so far. There is another thing I just wanted to show you. If you go over here, you move this knob to zoom, you can see the airport. It's only possible if you have got Navigraph subscription and Navigraph is there. Then you can see the runway and the airport and the taxiways, obviously. So I think I can now start the pushback. With this, let's move this engine start switch to ignition start, and let's start engine 1 and 2. Now engine 1 and 2 are available. I can turn on engine 3 and 4. Let's engage the parking brake. Set the flaps to position 1. Arm the ground spoilers. Set the trim for the takeoff. I have this adjustment on my controller, otherwise you can also do it from here. Pitch trim, nose up and down. I will set it at 35%. As you can see, it's coming in the magenta color. And that's it. So APU bleed is on. Just turn off the APU and the APU bleed. Set the engine start switch to center. And parking brake is on. Let's check, and now let's turn on the wing lights, the runway turn off lights, and the nose lights for the taxi. So now you can see it's very simple to actually start this plane from the cold and dark state. If you're really familiar with the A320, you will be able to do it. Now let's release the parking brakes and start the taxi towards the runway. Now I am near the runway, so let's turn on the takeoff lights, and plus you can see the takeoff configuration is normal. You can turn on the auto brakes. You can set them to RTO by pressing this button, and everything is looking good. Now the first constraint is 20,000 feet, so once I'll turn on the autopilot, it will just show. And the best thing about this plane is this, that it also shows that you're on the runway. So this is impressive. I'm seeing it for the first time in any plane. Okay. So now let's keep an eye on the thrust, as I will be keeping it over here on the flex. Let's wait for the engines to spool, and that's it. Positive rate of climb, gears up. Let's also change this view so that I can see the flight plan by zooming out. That's it. I can now activate the autopilot. Now it's set to climb the thrust lever. Actually, I have been using 2024 and I haven't configured my TCA quadrant. So I'm using the controller's thrust lever for this flight. So that's why I have to keep an eye on over here. So now this was easy to take this plane up in the air, to configure the MCDU. An interesting thing, there is also another Airbus A400 military aircraft, a cargo aircraft, which is available in the 2020 as well and 2024 as well. So I have also been trying to do some flights with it. It's really interesting. So if you know how to fly this plane, you will be able to fly that plane as well. Very nice and simple. So above 10,000 feet, I can turn off the seatbelt signs, and then I can turn off the lights as well. The flaps are up. I remember 4 years back when this simulator was launched, there was no concept of top of descent in this simulator. But now top of descent has started to come, I think for the last 2 years maybe. But initially it was a big problem. There was no top of descent indication in the navigation display. So now it's above 10,000 feet. I can turn off the seatbelt signs. And I can turn, oh, not this one, nav light is on. Nose, runway turn off lights, and the wing lights. That's it. So now I will just wait for the top of descent, and before that I will just configure the MCDU for the approach, and then I will start the descent. Now the plane is near the top of descent, so it's time to configure the MCDU for the approach. So let's go to the MCDU. It looks so big on the screen. Anyhow, okay, so let's go to performance, and over here for the approach, the wind at Abu Dhabi is 330 degrees and it's 6 knots. Outside temperature is 27 in the morning, and the QNH is 1014. That's it. And Barrow is 183 feet above the runway, and radio is 100 feet. And that's it. And full flap configuration for the landing, and approach speed is 139 knots. Now my target altitude for the descent is 3,000 feet, because this is the altitude at which I will be intercepting the glide slope. So now let's wait for the top of descent, and then I will start the descent, and they'll take you through the ILS approach and landing procedures for this plane. Now the top of descent is there, and I can start the descent. Bring the mouse over here, and when you see the up arrow key, just press it, and it will be a managed descent, not an open one. So just like the Airbus A380, you have the manage modes. Right now even the speed is in the manage mode, the heading is in the manage mode, in the navigation mode, and plus altitude and the vertical path. So now the descent has started, and you can see the vertical deviation is also coming over here. These are the speed limits for the descent. This is the green dot speed, and this indicator shows that by this point the plane will be following the descent profile. Right now it's slightly low as I've started it early. Now just before the runway, little not so short of the runway, but during the arrival I will also activate approach, reduce the speed, and then extend the flaps. You can see these speeds are coming at which you can have flaps. So below 182 knots you can have full flaps. So if I'm not wrong, when you activate the approach phase, the plane actually goes to 180, and as soon as you start extending the flaps, and then the speed starts to reduce further. So that's how it's done. Thrust is in the idle position, and another thing, this plane actually really Follows all the constraints, the speed and the altitude constraints if you start the descent at a good point or at the given point. So right now you can see over here flight level less than 15,000, below 15,000, and speed 250 knots, and over here plus 12,000. So now the plane is descending. Now the plane is below 10,000 feet. I can turn on the seatbelt signs, no mobile signs, and turn on the lights for the landing. That's it. At this point the plane should be below 9,000 feet, but above 7,000 speed should be 230 knots. I can get the air brakes. That's it. Now after this point I can also activate the approach phase, as now there's only one turn left and I'm near the airport. Press this button LS to get this information for the ILS. If you go over here in this section, nav aids, you will also see the frequency and the heading for the runway is also coming, 306. So let's activate the approach and confirm. That's it. Now the speed will reduce. It will go up to 139, but it will stop over here. And this is the green dot speed. The speed without any slats and flaps. So the speed will not go below this point. It will just stay over here. And as soon as I will start extending the flaps, then the speed will reduce. So that's how you manage the descent. And plus this plane is also capable of carrying out a category 3 landing, or to be precise, auto land. So for this you have to turn on this autopilot too. So in this video I will just try to go for autopilot landing. Now with this I can activate the approach, and I can also activate autopilot. As you can see now, Cat 3 Dual is active, and with this I can extend the flaps to full position. So now the plane is following the glide slope. It's locked to localizer. Auto throttle is also active. So as I've told you before, I'll try to do
2,500
auto land just to tell you. But before this I was trying one auto land. It was not really good. The touchdown never happened, so I had to deactivate the autopilot. So let's hope for the best because I don't have again the time to just do this video again just to have a perfect landing and show off in front of all of you. So whatever the type of landing we have, I'll just go with it. The main reason of this video was to basically showcase the capabilities of this plane and bring you up to speed so that you can easily carry out a flight with it. Now 6 nautical miles to the runway. I can lower the gears. So everything is good now. Nice sunny morning. These are the days for the good weather in the Middle East. Although it's 27 and 30, it goes to 30 in the morning, but the evenings are really nice and windy, especially in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And over here in Riyadh as well. Evenings are really nice. Not really cold, comfortable, but nice. Because in the summers it goes up to like 48 degrees centigrade in the morning, so it's really hot. Even I remember a few years back I was in Bahrain and it was like 52 degrees centigrade in the morning and humidity was like 95%. So it was really bad.
1000.
Now the plane is following the glide slope.
$400.
Slightly high, as you can see, the PAPI lights 3 are white, so it means the plane is coming at a higher altitude, but it's following the glide slope. You can also have a look at it by turning on the LS over here.
Minimum.
So it's slightly high. Well, let's see. Maybe it's an A380,
50,
that's why
40,
it just
30,
sees
20,
it's high.
10, retard.
Yeah, see, it didn't happen, so I have to do it myself. And now. That's it. Get rid of the error. So the autopilot doesn't really work so well, so that's why it's recommended to have a manual landing over here on this any of the runways. Thank you very much for staying with me, and hopefully this was a good video for you, and you have just gotten some good tips from this video, and you can now do a flight with this plane. If you've got any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.